Hello, I'm Christina Tankersley, and I've been a project management professional since 2007 and worked with Excel for over 20 years.
And I'm Barbara Evers, and I'm excited to find out how I can use Excel for project management.
So we know that Excel is a database, right? We can capture information in Excel. And what I like to do is I have several templates that I use throughout the planning process that we refer to when we go into the execution of a project. And I like to have them in one file.
That would be wonderful.
What that helps us do is every time we sit down to have a conversation, I can bring up that one file, and then as there's information to populate, I can just go ahead and go to the appropriate template and then enter that information in. The first thing that we want to create is a charter. A charter is basically an agreement that, yes, this is a project, this is what we know about it at this point, it's usually pretty broad, and this is who the project manager is. But there's some other fields that typically companies will create in order to make that agreement.
Okay.
So if we look at this charter here, I have some general information. So we've got some names and dates, and then we have a description of the problem or issue, and then what the purpose of our project is. So this is something that will be our North Star. When we come back and maybe we're trying to make a decision, we might come back and look at this.
Right.
There's some other information in this particular template that I have. The business case, goals and metrics, some deliverables, what's within scope and outside scope. I always like to say, hey, we're not going to do this, and be crystal clear on that. I also have some resources and then some information about the benefits to our customers. Now, here is where we get a little bit more specific. We've got some cost savings, enhanced revenues, productivity, and other things associated with cost. Maybe sometimes this is time, sometimes it's cost, sometimes it's both. So you may have to modify this.
Right, because I'm noticing you have enhanced revenues, and I don't believe we would be using that one.
Okay, so when we look at putting your charter together, that would be a field that we would just omit.
Right.
So before we jump in and create our own charter, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you a little bit about the project management foundational processes. So initiation typically is when the charter is created. This will be when we decide, hey, this is a real project, it is funded, and we're moving forward with it. And when we create the charter, we come out of initiation and into planning. All right, so you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Let's come to a blank worksheet and let's give us something to start with.
Okay.
So I will go ahead and let's paste some of the information that we had in the previous, just so we don't have to type. So in the top here, we have a title, right? So this is the project charter. Then we have our general project information. So let's start with a project name. What's the name of your project?
Intro to BB Products.
Okay. And then who is the project sponsor? Who is the person that is going to write the checks? They're the ones in charge of the budget.
Charles Reeves.
Okay. All right. And then the project manager is Barbara. So the next thing is the organizational unit. Is this for the North American unit, or is this worldwide?
It's Southeast.
Okay. The primary process that's impacted here, would it be training or?
Yeah, it's definitely like orientation training, something along those lines, but training works.
Good. When do you expect to start this? Is there a constraint?
January
associated?
1.
Okay. When do you hope to finish this at this point?
Let's go with what you've got there, end of March 2019. That looks about right for what we're trying to do.
Okay. Is there an expected savings associated with this?
Not at this point. So.
And do we have a constraint as far as cost goes?
Right now it's all internal costs, and that's soft dollars. So
should I put to be determined?
Yeah, let's just leave it with to be determined.
All right. So the great thing about this is these are fields that we would tend to use quite a bit. When we are setting this up, typically this is going to be information that we'll see on the other sheets.
Okay.
So let's come down here to the bottom and let's type in charter. Let's go ahead and put the problem or issue in here. Now this can be an opportunity or a problem. And it sounds like with training, it might be an opportunity, right?
Well, what we've discovered is we have an introduction to the products, but it's not effectively preparing our employees to move forward. So we're trying to improve their understanding of what we actually sell.
Okay. How about that?
That works.
Let's go ahead and add another one. And the next thing that we'll talk about is doing requirements. A lot of times you will want to put the same information at the top of each one of these, especially if you're going to print it. So let me show you a little trick here. What I can do is we'll just go ahead and grab these top 3. And then we can put those up here. All right, now for the project name, what I can do is I can press equals, like you're going to do a function or formula, come over here to charter, and then click on the cell where you have the project name. Notice that you have the marching ants around there.
Right.
We'll press enter, and now that will show up here.
Now, can I copy that down and will it grab from the cells below it on the previous spreadsheet?
So let's take a look. If I come to the bottom right-hand corner, click and drag that down, now we have all 3 of those. And the great thing about this is, let's say that somebody says, hey, we want to make a really great name. We're going to call this Project Engage, or, you know, they put some marketing spin onto it. Then if I change this here, notice what happens here.
It updates right there.
That's right. You only have to update it once.
And we do find ourselves changing things. Sometimes the sponsor changes, sometimes the manager changes. So being able to change it in one place will be very useful.
Let's go back to our charter. And I would want to clean this up a little bit. I would want to maybe open up some of these rows. For instance, problem or issue looks like it's okay, but if we put our cursor right underneath the 14 here, row 14, for purpose of project, we can open this up by clicking and dragging so that we have plenty of room and we can see what we need to see in there. Also, if you look up here at the top, notice that we have, it looks like some overhang. And I would want to come up here and get rid of this fill. So that's under Home and Font. Come down and choose No Fill. Or if you have other things in there, you could always come up to the editing group and choose Clear and just clear everything out of there. Once you go through the process of cleaning this up, then we are on our way to a great project charter.
Christina, I like that this looks more like a database than I'm working in a spreadsheet, because I think sometimes people look at a spreadsheet and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. But I liked the overall look of what you showed me at the beginning, and it looks like this is going to be very easy to do. I'm excited to see how to do the rest of the tabs.